Orleans community. Once again, we're back to have another exciting episode as we inspire the city through our podcast, making sure our family students have opportunity to learn from community leaders, our students, individuals that we bring to New Orleans to inspire our students. So we're great today, and we're lucky to have an exceptional group of leaders, but more than leaders, an exceptional group of people. To my right, I have Dr. Desmond Moore. To my left, I have Dr. Melanie Moore, and to my far left, I have Dr. Tomika Washington. So first thing, welcome to Inspire the City podcast today.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
You know, one great thing that I love to say is that all of you are doctors, which means that you have the highest level of education, and we'll definitely get into that conversation. But most importantly, I've been knowing you for a very long time, and throughout your journey, throughout your tenure, throughout your career, you've always been exceptional for students. You've always been exceptional for our students of New Orleans, but more than just our students, our communities, our families, your community, your family, that you've always decided to give back, and I treasure you for that, and I thank you for that in advance. But we're going to go ahead and get started with just how many years you've been in education and what inspired you to be in education. Dr. Moore, I start with you. How many years you've been in education, and what just inspired you to be in education?
I've been a principal. I think this is just 16 as a principal. I know I've hit the 20 mark somewhere, close to it in education, though.
All right, how about you, Dr. Moore?
Year 20, school leader, year 15. Just inspired to change students' lives because an educator changed my life.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dr. Washington?
26, this is year 26 with at least 14 years in either middle, district, or school leadership. I think for me, just the same as Dr. Moore, school is really where it all made sense for me and where my greatest support came from as a student here in New Orleans.
Dr. Moore, what inspires you?
Every day I'm inspired. I have the pleasure of working with students who look like me, sound like me, have similar walks of life that I have, and then I have the pleasure of also being around kids who have support systems that I had as well. I got to talk with Ian Gray this morning, a junior at Karr, and I look at his upbringing very similar to mine. His mother's a teacher. His dad is in education, also an entrepreneur. My mother was a teacher. My dad was an entrepreneur. I came up in one school setting. I was at Karr from 7th grade to the time I graduated, and I had a great, huge support system. So when I look at the different kids that we have in our schools, they inspire me in a multitude of ways because while their stories are different, their outcomes can be the same. And when I say the same, meaning they can all be successful.
One thing that's definitely I got to highlight when we talk, we're just going to have a conversation. We're just going to talk, ask each other questions. I just won't leave everybody have the opportunity to ask somebody a question. But what's ironic, all four of us have over 20 plus years in education, right? So you don't find that too often in these days,
Right.
especially in New Orleans education or just tenure. We understand there's a lot of burnout. A lot of us go through that phase as well. But 20 plus years is a lot of years working with students, working with communities, working with families. And I guess I'll start with you, Dr. Washington, on when you hear that number 20 plus, and I know all of us hope we can make to 25 years or 30 years in that age based on retirement, but just 20 years, 20 plus years, what exactly does that mean to you?
Definitely, it shows that this was a calling and not just a job because there were many changes that took place in New Orleans as it relates to education through my career span and the career spans of each of you up here. So one of the things that we knew we were called for is we were called to the city of New Orleans specifically, not just because of the needs, but because of a love for the work. And as much as it's very hard work because we're battling socioeconomic, we're battling mental health, we're battling just a lack of exposure for our community and hence our young people, the commitment to see the call through so that the next generation of educators, the next generation of city leaders, the next generation of CEOs like yourself and or school principals or teachers, we are actually having a hand in developing.
Got it. Dr. Moore?
So for me, I see it as 20 years of ministry. When I look back over my career, I was a principal of a school that was the poorest in the United States of America at one point, and we were able to succeed. I was the principal of a school in the largest school district. We were able to succeed. And now in New Orleans, like a principal of a school where kids come from everywhere. There are no zones. So we take whoever comes to us, we meet them where they are, and you're able to do things for them and show them that you can achieve. It doesn't matter where you're from. You can achieve what anybody else achieves. And it's a blessing to me to be able to do that, to be able to show them, to be able to have them look at people like us that stands before them, that have achieved things, and they have something to aspire to. So that's what gets me up every morning.
Got it, Dr. Moore, 20 plus years.
Man, it feels funny for me to say I have 20 plus years, but I thank God for it. When I think about having 20 plus years in education, it reminds me that I have lived and I'm living my life with intentionality and purpose. When I think about my role as a father, it's very intentional, it's very purposeful. My daughter Paige is such a blessing to have, and so I'm very intentional and purposeful in everything that I do and pour into her. But having 20 plus years in education reminds me that I've been very intentional and purposeful in what I do for others around her and around me. Last week, I ran into a kid. I did not remember his name. I remembered his face. He stopped me. He said, Doc. And I'm like, hey, how you doing, man? I knew it had to be somebody who, I crossed paths with in this arena. He said, man, he's broken. He was in tears. He said, I'm so happy to see you. He said, I just was released from jail, right? And he said, I cried when I got out. And he said, your picture, it's a picture of he and I. He said, I had it in my cell. He said, I cried when I got out. He said, because I knew that I still had purpose for my life. And you told me that from the time I was a kid. I
tell you, all of us have had that experience, and it's wonderful that you bring that up. I was just at a homecoming game 2 weeks ago, and the mother of the queen, I actually taught her in high school. And all of us have seen students where they've come to us, they've graduated from us. Now their kids are in our schools, or maybe even their grandkids in our elementary schools, and you never know the impact that you're going to make when you have 20 plus years. That speaks to the legacy. But I know we're talking professional, so now we're going to talk a little personal. I know when we walked in, we was playing just some music just to get everybody lively, to get everybody going. But just so the audience can learn a little bit about you, so we're going to go off songs. And I know we have some students here. We were just listening to songs. And we'll start with you, Dr. Washington. One spiritual song that gets you going in the morning. Then I'll ask one secular song that gets you going in the morning. Because it's important that individuals understand that, hey, we're normal, although we're leading schools. We have a life. We have a balanced life where we work hard, we play hard, but it's all under perspective. So if you had to think about one gospel song that you would hear in the morning that keeps you going, and why? Why is that song that keeps you going? One gospel song, then we'll go to a trendy song. One gospel song.
I would say Brandon Lake, Hard Fought Hallelujah.
Okay, why that song?
With that song, he was able to do a collab even with Jelly Roll, who's another country music star.
That's a new song.
Where they talk specifically about there are times where you just don't want to get up, and you just don't want to keep going, and sometimes where you feel like your prayers aren't being answered, or what's the use of it all. But you still have to have a joy about you, and a worship and a gratefulness that you are here, you're alive, you're present, you're able to make a change or have a change to even happen. So anticipate that, walk with that excitement, and give hallelujah and praises just for that moment.
Yeah, how about you, Dr. Moore?
Oh, CeCe Winans, Goodness of God. I sing it just about every day. Used to sing it in church. He has been good to me. And I focus on that no matter what happens during the day. I always focus on the goodness, because there's always some goodness in every day. And that's what I tell the students, is always something good that has happened, and he is always and forever will be good. And I live with that, and I focus on that every day.
Yeah, for me, it's for every mountain it's around. I got to listen to that often. I remember when I was a kid, and I was from a country church that didn't even have a drum. And they used to sing that song at every funeral, every celebration, at every anniversary. just talks about the trials and tribulations of making it through. For every mountain, God's brought me through. And just that whole line for me, even when I'm in the mountains, I reflect on that to understand just what exactly that is. How about you, Dr. Moore?
I would say Jonathan McReynolds, No Gray. The song talks about there's no gray area. If you know me, you know my mentality. I'm a lock-in kind of guy.
Got it.
And it's intentional in its message and saying there's no gray. It's either black or white, right? You don't straddle the fence when it comes to your intentionality with what you do as it concerns God. But as a human, as flesh, I have battles. I have battles that I fight and I face every day. But I have to be intentional about where I stand as a man of God.
So just because shout out, so I saw you. Now that's the spiritual aspect. Dr. Moore, you're a dancer. I saw you doing some new addition. I just want to. Do you know how to dance? Do you know how to dance?
I'm gonna start with the fact that I'm a noob, so yeah, I know how to dance.
Oh, okay. Being that I'm an alpha, I can dance. How about you, Dr. Moore?
Yeah, I'm a Zydeco dancer. I
Zydeco
grew up with
dance.
Zydeco music.
Keith Frank or J. Paul? Which one?
J. Paul.
J. Paul. How about you, Dr. Walsh? Can you dance?
Well, yeah, certainly in New Orleans fashion, but my preferred my preferred music is, of course, bounce music. But
Okay.
if I had to,
So T. Tucker, Jubilee, how far bounce we going?
yeah, we're talking about T.T. Tucker.
T.T.
It all,
Tucker.
it all
Where they at?
started
Where they
in
at?
St.
Where they at?
Thomas. Yes, in the St. Thomas. That's where it started. But for me, if I had to pick secular, certainly anything by Lauryn Hill, the Miseducation of Lauryn Hill's album. My scholars every morning, Ian Gray, one of them who's here, who's also the vice president of our student body, they always pick song selections. And for us, Lauryn Hill, That Thing.
That thing.
And I think for me, just with her push for reflection, I think that entire album is a reflection of what takes place every day. We're learning every day. Education is every single day. It's in the discussions that we have, it's in the choices that we make, the decisions that we make, is in our surroundings. And so that song, That Thing, I would think is most recent, definitely.
So if you had the choice, would it be That Thing or T.T. Tucker? Would it be That Thing or
It's
T.T.?
gonna be That Thing.
That Thing.
It's gonna be That Thing.
Yeah, that go.
Yeah, although with bounce, it's a whole vibe. Like you
Okay.
just have to be, like you have to be from here to appreciate that. And we mix it with everything. And Trigger Man, hands
the old
down.
school Trigger.
So it wouldn't even matter, we can put that to any music. So definitely, That Thing.
Dr. Moore, question for you right fast, and I go to you, Dr. Moore. Since I know you had some time in Baton Rouge, and we'll talk about that.
Okay.
Would you say jig or bounce?
I'm 504 to the bone, man.
Okay.
I'm New Orleans,
All right,
so
we'll give you that.
It's gonna be it's definitely gonna be bounce over jig.
Okay.
But I'm a big Boosie fan, man.
Oh, I
keep
can't
it-
wait
I'm
to
be
get to your
honest.
song. So I'm gonna go ahead and
I'm
start.
be
What's your
honest with
song? If your hype song?
Man, I don't know if I can say that on the podcast. Man. Just
Clean.
know-
What's the
just
clean? The clean is the song.
Man, Wipe Me Down.
Wipe
I
Me
mean,
Down,
if-
Boosie, B-O-O-S-I-E.
yeah, that's like a Noop anthem. So
That is.
it's one of those things. It's one of those things. Shout out to Boosie, man.
Yeah.
Shout out to Hatch.
All right. How about you, Dr. Moore?
What, jig or bounce?
No, I'm just saying. What song?
Oh,
Since
goodness.
you said Zydeco.
Oh, Zydeco. Well, now I'm going to go to Keith Frank because
Keith Frank?
Haters. Like, Haters was a song that everybody played.
Yes.
And I just love what he was saying on that. But Haters was a song with Zydeco. Yes.
Put your hand up for your haters, something like that. All right. My song would be, and I know we're gonna use it. I bet you won't. It's one of the songs that I actually
Lord.
like now. It's a jig song, Miss Washington on your telephone. I see you, but that's one of the songs that's actually jamming now out there. But a lot of people see us as leaders. They see us as individuals who have formal education, but they don't understand who you are as a student. So I'm not going to go as far as back as elementary school, but what type of high school student were you into? Sports, clubs, those type of things to kind of make it well around. I see you, Dr. Washington, just to make it well around when you're in the band, just so individual know that you actually walk their footsteps and that it's possible to accomplish what we're trying to encourage them to accomplish. So we'll start with you. What type of student what were you engaged in? What did you do?
So I was actually the athlete, all 4 sports.
Okay.
MVP of all sports, all-state basketball player. average 25 points a game, like
Point guard,
point guard,
Okay.
shooting guard, whatever they needed at the time. Like just an athlete throughout high school.
Okay.
Had some setbacks, you know. Many of my students know I was a high school mom. Had a scholarship, you know, to play basketball. Had to go a different route. But, you know, came back through, you know, high school mom to high school principal.
You graduated high school,
Yes.
went to college, undergrad. Where'd you go undergrad?
I started at, it was USL,
Okay.
which is now UL, right? I started there, but I did actually my associates there. And then I became a paramedic. I worked on an ambulance for 7 years.
Okay.
Then I eventually moved, a non-traditional student. So I moved to Houston and went to Texas Southern. And I graduated from Texas Southern back then. And it was human performance. It was education though, like kinesiology, because I was always kind of like into sports. I really love sports. Graduated there, moved back home, started coaching. I was a high school basketball coach, all-state coach of the year, Louisiana coach of the year with high school basketball 4A. Did that, went back to Southern University
Okay,
to get
SU.
my master's degree while I was coaching. Became assistant principal at the high school where I coached, continued to coach, and became the assistant principal. Did that for 5 years until I became principal. Eventually moved to New Orleans and got my doctorate from University of Holy Cross here.
Yeah, how about you, Dr. Washington? What type of high school student? Where were you involved in? Which high school?
Walter L. Cohen,
Walter
Waloco.
L. Cohen.
Shout out to Waloco. The best high school uptown, servicing the St. Thomas, the Magnolia, the Callio.
Alumnus of. A lot of people don't know
and
the
the Melf,
history of
and the
Mr.
Melf.
Cohen. I had to
Yeah,
read up on Mr.
yeah,
Cohen
yeah.
to know how significant he was.
Prominent in the black community, and definitely for, I know my mom, my aunts, my uncles, all of them, if you were uptown, you really had to, at that time, districting. You had to only go to certain schools. And everyone out the St. Thomas, we went to Laurel, Live Oak, or Cohen. That was pretty much our zone. The only way you would get into Cohen, if you were from the Third Ward, you would have to be on Dries or Barone or in that area. For me, speech, drama, and debate were my clubs. I was the vice president of the drama club. Mr. Willie Bill, who's also one of Dr. Moore's teachers, he was our president. But for me, drama, debate, and speech provided me with a voice to speak out against those things I know that were happening in my community. I was a fighter in that anything that I felt that required justice in my high school, I had a front door to my principal, back door, didn't matter. Mr. Leroy Gray, one of the best principals in New Orleans, was going to listen to what Miss Sylvester, because that's my maiden name, what she had to say. And the Sylvesters had a real stake uptown, period. So they were athletes. They were scholars first. They were always on principal honor rolls, but they were also in the spotlight often for crime. And crimes that would be notable not just in the U.S. but everywhere, because some of their criminal activity went outside of that. So 2 lives to actually live, but at the end of the day, very vocal, very boisterous, at every dance, and especially every dance that Jubilee was going to DJ, cutting up at every basketball game because we were the best. We weren't great in football, but we were the best in
Cohen had some
basketball.
basketball teams.
So when you think about Mr. E, my teacher, who is kicking the bleachers and making the noise, that would be me. And my crew at every game. And instead of us calling the players by their by their name rather, we called them by their court. So if you lived in St. Mary's, if you lived on Adele and Adele made a 3-point, we would say Adele. So that gives you kind of like a picture. High school was fun. It was the best time of my life. For me, even to Dr. Moore's story, I shared that my senior year, becoming pregnant with my oldest daughter, who's an Edna Karr graduate, Mika Washington. And I think for me, the joy of school being that safe place in a crazy world,
Yes.
school being the answer, my principal being the answer, my teachers being the answer, even with me bearing the Sylvester last name and what went with that, and how my principal knew what the Sylvesters did because he had put many of them out. He still was, to me, the best principal.
Yes.
That I could ever have. And I think for high school students, that's what I really believe our high schools represent for them. It is a home away from home.
Yes.
It's their moral compass. It is also their place of exposure. InspireNOLA is their place of exposure. And I think we enjoyed that at that time when I was in high school, graduating in '94. I can't say that about my school. I went to Broadway plays in state, out of state. I've had the opportunity to do Shakespeare tours, all of this stuff, just being in speech, debate, and drama, and still can go back to the St. Thomas, to real life drama, right? But the exposure was key for me. I graduated from Southern University in New Orleans.
SU once again.
Yes.
Before
yes,
LSU.
The Southern University system. And remember, Suno, we were first. Shout out to Suno because
Suno.
Baton Rouge, y'all came,
Yeah,
after
the Knights. That is true.
And
That is
so getting my bachelor's from Suno and having a family, a HBCU is a family, but having a family, having Mika on my hip, having the financial aid director give me work study and watch Mika while I'm in class, like still having that village, even in that HBCU experience. And then getting my master's from SUNO as well in urban education, curriculum and instruction. And then my PhD in 2013 from Capella University, which is Minneapolis, Minnesota. And I think for me, just having that, to see both sides. No, Capella is not an HBCU. I attended classes with people all over the world. We had to do some in-person things, some things online. But I still felt like I had a rich experience here in New Orleans that still allowed me to be able to compete as well as learn from my peers.
Yeah. How about you, Dr. Moore? I hear you as an athlete, but I want to hear about this. What type of high school student were you?
I did very well in the classroom. I was very proud of that. I was motivated to do well in the classroom by my mother, who's a teacher, but more so by my father. My father is not traditionally educated. He really pushed us to become educated. As accomplished as he is without formal education, he knew that his boys would be able to do even more with formal education. So he really pushed us in a strong way. He was a great support. So I did very well in the classroom. I graduated from Edna, Karr, the best school in the West Bank, in 1999. It was a
To the 2000.
Hey, it was a great experience. So
99 to the 2000.
Right. So my experience at Edna Karr, man, I tell people all the time, I felt like Zach Morris at like Bayside High. It was
Hey,
different.
they don't know about no saved by the bell.
I was saved
you don't know saved by the bell.
right? And for me to grow up in the cutoff on Blair Street, 3701, next to the shortcut, for me to grow up there and then have that kind of experience outside of my neighborhood was very special, and I hold it dear to my heart today, and I try to mimic some of those experiences as a leader today. Coach Rob and Coach Rock are very much responsible for my academic path in life, not because they chose places for me, but because they made me fearless. They taught me how to speak. They taught me how to present myself in front of people. Coach Rob taught me how to tie a tie and a bow tie. If as much as formally educated as I am, and I'm very thankful for it, and it has made me a better person and man and leader. What I learned from my years in high school from Coach Rob, Coach Rock, Coach Robinson, Coach Hardy, what I learned from them is the reason I believe that I'm a successful school leader.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. What I got from them, I could not have gotten from LSU, Minnesota State, Harvard, or the University of Holy Cross, all places I have paperwork from, right? They just taught me how to be. And in high school, I was a part of the orchestra. I played the viola. I was second chair. I was on a basketball team. I did student council. I did beta club. I did honor society. I did football for a little while. They didn't throw the ball then, so that was a wrap on that. I did track. I did ROTC. I mean, if there was something to be done, I was involved in it. I was definitely involved in it, and it really wasn't a choice, right?
Right.
So I remember being in class and coach coming to get me, and we like, this is stuff you probably get in trouble for now, right? But this was like normal. I'm in class and we're finishing up or whatever. And he's like, "Hey man, you coming to the track meet today?" I'm like, "Oh, for real? I could just come?" He's like, "Nah, you go jump." Jump. I'm on track team, coach. Come on, man.
Yeah.
And I went and jumped, right? And that's what we did. But man, my high school experience was amazing. It was amazing. It made me fearless. When people talking about being able to navigate life, it taught me how to navigate different settings, because they afforded me opportunities to be in spaces that at that moment was uncomfortable, but later in life, now I'm so comfortable. I went to leadership camp in 10th grade at Camp Cheerley. I always remember this experience. It was in Denver, Colorado, in the Rocky Mountains. When I go in, there are no other black or brown boys there. We're talking about 400 delegates. None there. So when I go in, and at this time, this is a cash money, no limit, if you know Big Boy Records era, right? And that's what I know. So I go in with that mentality, and I have very limited exposure. And they're singing songs and doing, "Oh, Spirit Fingers," and I'm like, man, I'm not doing none of this. But by the time I left, I was
Spirit Fingers.
I was like, yeah, Camp Chili. You know what I mean? We fringing, it is what it is. But they afford me those kind of opportunities. My mother wouldn't have been able to pay for that. My school paid for that. They made that happen, and it changed my life. So my high school experience was amazing.
So going back to the question, something that you just mentioned, if you had to say your top and educational influence, the person, and one characteristic about that person, top influential person in education, and one characteristic, who is that person?
Bill Robinson.
All right, why? One characteristic about Mr. Robinson.
He's a man.
Legendary.
Oh, definitely. Integrity.
How about you, Dr. Moore?
It was actually one of my school leaders, Willie Haynes.
Okay.
He just taught me to never be inferior. Always know that no one can make me feel like I'm beneath, even though you're not above anyone, but you're not beneath anyone. So just always fight to be strong and to stay on top, no matter what life throws your way.
Got it. Dr. Washington?
Yeah, for me, it would have to be my principal, my high school principal, Mr. Leroy Gray. Watching him take a body as we are leaving out of school at 4 p.m. and a drive-by happens on campus, and we're on the corner, and my friend gets shot 3 times in the chest, and Mr. Gray picks him up with his gray suit and Bally's on, because he wore Bally's every day. Have the security drive his Lincoln around the corner. He throws him in the back of his car, and he drives him to Turo and forces them to service him, because Charity would have been too far.
Yes.
And so for Mr. Gray, I would say the one thing would be uncommon. But in that uncommonness, he's the same one who's going to kick the boys' bathroom door open and get everyone out of the door and suspend you if, you had broken any rule. But he's the same one that also picked
Embraces
up
you.
a body of a peer and shielded us to get down behind the tree to make sure that we weren't hit with these stray bullets. You just don't have that.
Right.
And we talk about a lot of the violence and the things that are happening in our city now, but I think sometimes we forget that history repeats itself.
Yes.
So much of the violence that school leaders are leading in spite of now, it was there back then. But someone had to take a stand. Someone had to still say that we're going to educate and we're going to lead. But it definitely, I would say, seeing Mr. Gray in that light carries me as a principal even now to have that balance of both.
You know, one thing that's important to say for parents, for our community, if you're looking for exceptional leaders and you're saying we don't have them in the city of New Orleans, you're seeing 3 right here. Not only do they have some of the largest schools in the city of New Orleans, they have the highest performing schools in the city of New Orleans, as well as the highest parent demand at McDonogh 35, McMain, and Edna Karr High School. So if you're looking for a school for your students, you're looking for a school that's going to not only nurture your children, but guide your children, give them a lot of different experience and exposures. These are 3 schools that I highly recommend for you that are not only having a 100% graduation rate, but a 100% acceptance rate for our students doing career and colleges out there. That I definitely encourage you to send your children to our schools. But as we close, I was looking at something this morning on social media. I'm not sure if it's accurate, but one of the statistics that I just read, it brought me some concern that brings me to Inspire the City, and that's statistic actually listed New Orleans, and I don't know if you saw this morning, as one of the number 1 for the deadliest cities in the United States. And I got to do some more research with my team to understand if that's accurate, but just to see New Orleans number 1 goes to show you what our students are going through, what our community is going through, and why we have to rally together behind these students to do some great things, and why we started this Inspire the City. And I can definitely say to all 3 of y'all, not only are you inspiring in your school, more importantly, you're inspiring New Orleans and you're inspiring the community. But when you hear Inspire the City, bigger than just your school, bigger than just the advocacy that you're doing with these students in our community, what exactly does that mean for you? And this will be our final question, just because we know it's bigger than us. We understand our impact might not even resonate now, but eventually it will. Mm-hmm. We know these students that we're educating, we'll see them at some point in time, whether it's at weddings, funerals, communities, games. We tend to see our students, and they tend to still remember those moments with us. But when you hear, and especially for our youth that are watching this, why we're inspiring the city or why we chose Inspire the City, what exactly does that mean? I start with you, Dr. Moore, and we'll go to my left, or why that's important, even bigger than just schools.
So I realized a very long time ago that I have a responsibility to others as well as myself. And that responsibility and that role is to be a role model and to be an example for others, but it's also to not make excuses, and it's also to live up to and surpass some of the things that people, my parents, sacrificed for me to be in a position that I'm in. Right? So when I think about inspiring the city, I understand that on a daily basis in my daily walk that I have to be inspirational to others. And that's students, that's people I encounter. If it's a homeless citizen on the highway, if it is the person who's checking me out at Walgreens, I have to be an inspiration. I have to live a certain way.
Correct.
Right? And I understand that responsibility, and I own it. I own it. There are certain people who's been a part of my life, and if I can, I'm gonna shout some people out real quick. My older brothers, Darius Moore and Dante, they've never let me go astray. There were times something may have been appealing to me in the street sense, and no, not you. When I think about Ryan Williams, Taurus Howard, Dr. Brown, when I think about Noel Ellis, there are times that there were things that kind of caught my eye, and they said, no, not you, right? And because their impact and they stepped into my life in the time that they did, in the manner that they did, right? I understand that I have a purpose, and I was able to get to it. And one reason because of God and my family, but 2 because I had some older gentlemen and friends and brothers who stopped me from going astray And because now I am where I am, it is my responsibility
Yes.
to live up to that and own that and be a role model and be an inspiration. So I don't post as much as I should on social media because it's really just to lurk on my daughter page, right? That's why I have it. I'm being honest with you. But I hope that I know that I'm inspiring people in my building, but I really hope that I'm inspiring the city in the manner that I'm supposed to.
Yes, Dr.
Yeah.
Moore.
For me, when I see Inspire the City, I just automatically see change, right? So like every day for me, I aspire to do something better than I did the day before, to change it for the better. And so when people see it, I just wish that they would think about change and do something better than you did the day before. Dr. Washington mentioned earlier, like history repeats itself. So now we're once again seeing New Orleans #1, like for crime and all that. So if we can inspire people to do anything, it will be change. Like, let's not go back to that. Do it better than we did before so that we're not #1 for that, but let's be #1 for something else.
Yes.
For education, for infrastructure, for other things. Like, let's change the way that we are and the way we have been to something better, because we can. It doesn't matter where you are, you can always make a change.
Dr. Washington.
Yeah, I think it goes back to what you said too about it being more than just our schools. And I think even with Inspire This City, InspireNOLA happens to be the change agent in New Orleans that is touching both the family life, faith, mental health, and just our overall student experience. So when we think about Inspire the City, I'm thinking more of it is something that they deserve to have an organization like InspireNOLA to say, hey, it's going to be sometimes some laughter. Sometimes we're going to be with you through your pain. We're going to ease some of those burdens. And we're doing all of that just in hopes to let the education impact you. Our city needs so much more than just great schools. And I think that's what InspireNOLA has brought to New Orleans.
So I definitely thank our community for giving us grace. I ask that you continue to give us grace, because it's important to understand that in our schools, there's a lot of things that are happening that all of us need some grace and mercy to make sure we're doing this right by our students and our families. I think I'll close by saying something about all three of you. I know Dr. Washington mentioned being uncommon. I think all three of you are exceptional leaders, but more than just leaders, all three of you are very uncommon people who are giving your all, not only to our families, but our city. And our city needs to understand the impact that you're making in very large schools for a very high urban population, and make sure these schools having some success. Schools in our city, schools in our nation are not doing what you're doing. So it's important to say that when you have concerns, talk to these people, right? My office is not the place to call all the time. You can go back to the school. We will answer sometimes, but it's going to go back to the school leaders to have a conversation, understand what it is. But most importantly, you're dealing with some highly skilled professional who happen to be uncommon great people leading our schools in InspireNOLA. So we thank all three of you for being here. We look forward to inspiring the city with you for our city, because our students deserve more, our community deserve more, our parents deserve more, and we're going to fight for more. So once again, thank you.